Graham Ashcraft continues to dominate. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Wednesday, August 23rd. I am Frank Sample, joined by Scott White. And Graham Ashcraft just put up a career-high 10 strikeouts at the Angels. He allowed 3 runs over 7 innings. He had 13 swinging strikes on 94 pitches. Changed up the pitch mix a little bit in the start. And now over his last 10 starts, has a 2.35 ERA, a 1.08 whip, and is still just 73% rostered. Scott, your thoughts?
Well, you said he continues to dominate. I don't know that dominate's the right word. He continues to weasel.
2.35? 2.35 ERA?
He's weaseled his way through 10 starts to the tune of a 2.35 ERA, but only 6.6K per 9, which gives him a FIP well over 4 during that stretch. And that's been, largely the reason I've assumed it won't last. But I do have to point out that even though most of that 10-start stretch he hasn't really dominated, for 2 of his last 3 starts, you could legitimately say that Ashcraft did dominate, including this one here against the Angels. Tough lineup, tough matchup. He struck out 10 in 7 innings. So, that raises that K per 9 rate during the 10-start stretch. And also 2 turns before against the Marlins, he struck out 7 in 7 innings. Got a good number of swinging strikes in both those starts. And something I noticed for Ashcraft in each of those starts, increased sinker usage. It was 16% in the start against the Angels. It was 21% in that start against the Marlins. Normally it's like 5%. So he doesn't need a ton of sinkers, but when he throws just a decent amount, it seems to help the cutter play up. He's got that 99 mile per hour cutter that really doesn't live up to its velocity. So I think he needs something to keep hitters off balance, and it may be that sinker, incorporating it more. That may be the key for Ashcraft based on the way those 2 starts have gone. Hopefully he continues to do it, and that will open my mind at least a crack to Ashcraft maybe remaining useful in fantasy.
All right. Recently we spoke about a lot of prospect promotions. The Dodgers have recalled Michael Busch. JD Martinez was placed on the IL with a right groin, injury as the corresponding move. He'll be out at least for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Michael Busch, an older prospect, 25 years old, was crushing the minors, batting .323 with 24 home runs and a 1047 OPS. He's 16% rostered, has second and third base eligibility. The question, as always, will he play enough? Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's the same question for Jonathan Aranda, another 25-year-old who has clearly worn out his welcome at AAA with the kind of numbers he's putting up there. He hasn't played much for the Rays, Aranda. Busch, well, first game up, he was in the lineup right away at DH. It helps that he's filling in for a full-time DH in JD Martinez. So that makes it easy to slot him in the lineup. However, Dave Roberts did say he doesn't plan for Busch to be in the lineup on Wednesday, even though there's another right-hander on the mound. So already there's some doubts how much playing time is there going to be. But Busch seems like he could be an incredible hitter based on his numbers this year. Really, his whole minor league career, he's been an on-base freak with plenty of power. And the way the batting average has come on this year, high line drive rates throughout. So it was always part of his profile. Busch should hit for average someday, and it seems to have happened. I hope to see him in the lineup more. It's hard to call him a priority pickup until we actually see it happen, though.
Let's wrap up with a quick conversation on Jonah Heim, who went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts on Tuesday. He's 2 for 20 since returning from the IL. Just don't think that he's healthy right now, Scott. I think you see that in the production. He's not playing as much as he was before. He's still 91% rostered. Would you drop Jonah Heim for any of the catchers we've talked about recently? Yainer Diaz, Keibert Ruiz, and Cal Raleigh.
I would drop him for any of them. Yeah, I don't have much faith in him performing. It's a pretty serious injury, torn. Is it the capsular sheath? I think it's the tendon sheath in his wrist. It's a pretty serious injury that Heim is trying to play through, and it hasn't gone well. There was some talk he might not even bat right-handed the rest of the season, though that apparently has happened. I saw he was in the lineup against a left-hander, but I don't expect it to go well, and those catchers have been emerging lately. So I'd be happy to make that swap for any of them. I think Keeper Ruiz would be my first choice. Yainer Diaz might be if there weren't concerns over his playing time, especially with Jose Abreu apparently coming back Thursday. But the production has been great for Yainer Diaz in that Astros lineup, if he can find enough at-bats.
Would you drop Jonah Heim for either Mitch Garver or Logan O'Hoppe?
I would. Yeah, I mean, those guys have, Garver's played well lately. O'Hoppe just came back from the IL. We don't know how it's going to go yet, but he was looking good in April, and I think he has more upside from this point forward. Just trying to verify that injury for Heim. And I'm not finding it. They're just calling it a strain, but I know it's worse than that.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.